Hi all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who have been following the case of missing Sebastian Rogers out of Tennessee, then you know it's been 2 months since he disappeared from his home in the middle of the night, according to his mother, Katie Proudfoot. And you also know that there's not been a single trace of him since he was reported missing. And even though many searches for him have been conducted, PIs have been hired by his father Seth, and many YouTubers have gone out personally to search for him, not a single hair or clue has ever been found. And as I stated in my last video I did on this case, I've been sharing out his photo and information on social media, and I've seen many others sharing his information out as well. But other than that, I've just been quietly watching what has been taking place and being reported on social media. And I gotta tell ya, this case has turned into an absolute shit show. It's not even about finding Sebastian anymore, in my opinion. Except for the people, the volunteers who are actually out searching for him, and the people on social media who are still sharing out his information in hopes that some miracle is about to happen at this point and he has a chance of being found. Because there are still some of us who believe in miracles, and I do, especially since we saw one in the Phoenix Wilkerson case. But I don't expect one in Sebastian's case anymore. Not after seeing what I'm seeing go on between the main people responsible for his care, his parents, and his stepfather. Don't get me wrong, I've always suspected the Proudfoots, right from the start. But it was only my opinion. And I fully supported Sebastian's father, Seth, because he said he was out looking for him. But after everything I've watched go on with Seth, Katie, and Chris now, I don't support any of them. So, I guess I'm gladly joining the group of folks that Seth so lovingly told to F off if we didn't support them. If you didn't hear about that, and if you're following this case, I don't know how you didn't, you should look it up. Because Seth recently announced that he, Chris, and Katie all decided to put aside their differences and work together to find Sebastian. Only what? A month and a half after he went missing? And if any of us didn't like it, we could all just F off. Which is cool, since Seth has nobody, and he desperately needed the public to volunteer to help search for Sebastian and spread the word that he was missing. Or maybe he didn't need us, since if we don't like what's going on, we can all just F off. I mean, why alienate anyone when you're so desperate to find your child? Is that really something you would think would be in your or your child's best interest? Or do you only care about your own? And all the people who tried to make excuses for his behavior. Oh, he's just tired. He's just sick of all the crap. It's the medications he's on. Okay. If you need to believe the excuses for his rude behavior after everything everyone did to help him, all the time people put in, boots on the ground, searching for his son, all the time YouTubers put in, making videos about Sebastian and sharing out his information, trying to help, then you go right ahead. But me? Nah, that's okay. I can go F off for 500, Alex. Because you don't bite the hand that feeds you like that. Period. Especially when your little alliance that came too little and way too late never ended up coming together anyway. So, all he did was lose a lot of very helpful people who were willing to continue to help him search for Sebastian. Why do I say that Seth, Chris, and Katie are still not working together to find their son? Well, Chris and Seth just went on a live, talking about how they still aren't even talking, and how they definitely aren't working together. So, I guess he told everyone who didn't like it to go F off for nothing. and their conversation got quite heated. Because it started out with the PI, Chloe, hired by Seth, answering questions, barely. And then Chris called into the show to act belligerent and angry and run the conversation. And of course, he did his little, let's get it all out in the open and clarify everything, like he's done so much in the past. And yet he spent the entire time refusing to give any direct answers to questions and deflecting and answering each one with a 20-minute answer that had nothing to do with the actual question. And where was Katie, Sebastian's mom? The last person to see him before he disappeared. Yeah, she was nowhere to be found, as usual. So, yeah, it's all about Sebastian, except the one person who was last seen with him and was responsible for his care and safety is never around to answer a damn thing. But Seth's PI did give us a little bit of information, like she said police have shied away from confirming anyone's alibis or firming the timeline when Sebastian went missing. And that Seth has informed her that the supposed video of Sebastian taking out the garbage at his home on Sunday night was not a clear video, and he couldn't make out if it was Sebastian on the video or not. And that police have said that other than that possible Sebastian sighting, there hasn't been any other sighting of Sebastian on any other video. Then she said that police won't even release the missing persons report to her, which she says is bizarre and hasn't happened before. She also confirmed that she did receive a report that Chris was talking about leaving Katie prior to Sebastian going missing. She said that her theory is that Sebastian did somehow sneak out of the house that night, managing to go undetected by any of the 11 or more cameras she said she's found around his home, and she believes that his disappearance is due to some sort of foul play. Then, as Seth's PI, Chloe, is taking questions, Chris decides to go on panel, angry, yelling, and acting like an ass, saying that everything that she was saying, along with the speculation from the public, was disgusting. He was rude to everyone, wanting everyone to kiss his ass to keep him there, and he said that anything that goes on in his house is nobody's business, even though Sebastian, went missing from it. He was flipping out that people are making it sound like his family owns properties and has all kinds of money. Why does he care what people think? Shouldn't he be out searching with Katie, trying to find Sebastian? Then he goes on about all the crazy allegations people are making on Facebook. Then get off Facebook if you don't like it. But he can't, because he loves the attention. He says he's watching what everyone's saying in the chat on the live, and he talks about how he knew he and Seth were being photographed when he met with Seth before the vigil to talk about working together. A talk that could have and should have been held privately. But why do it privately when you can do it out in public and keep the attention on the two of you instead? I mean, people did go crazy about them talking about finally working together after Sebastian had already been gone for a month and a half. Why? Because they should have been working together from the beginning to find Sebastian. And they would have if it was actually not about them, and it was only about Sebastian, as Chris and Seth constantly say. But after a month and a half, people start to lose hope. Searchers stop showing up, and you need something to keep the attention on you. Interesting that their little talk took place out in public right before the vigil, where they knew people would be around to film them. But it wasn't planned, everyone said. Chris just stopped to see if Seth needed help, But Chris didn't stay for the vigil, did he? No. He just made his appearance for their little photo op. Then he took off. And if Seth didn't want to have it be a scene, then he could have just said, let's talk later after the vigil. But he didn't. And Chris then said that just hours later, Seth went on YouTube and accused Katie of things. So, they weren't working together after all. Interesting. So, no alliance between the three. And we all effed off for nothing. And then all the speculation about whether they were actually working together after all. To do what? Search for Sebastian? Hell, nobody has seen Chris and Katie searching for Sebastian at all this time. Maybe they have the same magical powers Sebastian seems to have, that they can move around out in the open without being captured on a single camera anywhere, eh? And from what Seth said, he isn't even physically searching anymore because of his shoulder injury, I think. I mean, he said he can't search because of his shoulder injury, that he spent so much time massaging on live after live he did, talking about how tired he was and how he needed everyone's help. But then, I guess that was prior to telling everybody they could fuck off. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, that wasn't for attention and sympathy at all. Then Chris deflected and avoided answering more questions and said he was so hurt when police said they had to pull back the search for Sebastian. He was so hurt. But he didn't search for Sebastian at all. So if the police had to scale their search back, then he could have maybe what? Jumped in and helped with the search? Along with Katie? But nobody asks him on the panel, not even the PI, why he and Katie haven't been searching at all. Because they know if they do, he'll just leave the panel and stop talking. So they let it go. Because he can't actually answer anything. So he's just there for attention. Just like when Chloe asked him the very simple question of which shirt Sebastian was wearing at Texas Roadhouse, and he couldn't answer it. So he ran around the question for 10 minutes, deflecting and trying to redirect it, because he knows very well that Katie should know which shirt Sebastian was wearing, and whether it's still at their home by now or not. But he's a joke, just looking for attention. So he gives her a hard time and asks her if she knows every piece of clothing in her closet. And of course never answered the very simple question. And when he's not deflecting or telling a 10-minute story to make everyone forget what the question was, he acts like he didn't hear it, so he can make them repeat it, so he can buy time to come up with an answer. And when he was asked if Katie would come on the live to answer some of the questions, he said he wouldn't subject her to it because he's a husband protecting his wife. Protecting her from what? Questions about her missing son? What does she need protection from? Then Seth came up on panel on the live, talking about how they aren't actually working together at all, and they need better communication between them. And he asked Chris about the rumor going around that Chris's parents took Sebastian somewhere, and all hell broke loose. Now, when Seth asked Chris if his parents took Sebastian somewhere, and Chris lost his mind, he yelled that if Seth had a question about that, he had his mother's phone number and he could call her and talk to her himself. Now, this is just me, okay? If I suspected my ex had his family take my child, whatever, and I wanted to know if they had my kid, one, I'm not going to my ex to ask him. But if I did, and actually expected him to tell me the truth, which of course he's not going to, and he told me if I wanted to know, call his parents, I wouldn't be calling his parents. I'd be showing up at their fucking door. I want to know if my kid's here. Or maybe I wouldn't say a word and I'd just start following their asses around. Where are they going? What are they doing? Are they doing anything that looks like it might have to do with hiding my child? But Seth never said that he called Chris's mother to ask if they had Sebastian. He never said he went to their house to see if Sebastian was there. He never said he, I don't know, camped out in front of their house to see if he could see Sebastian coming or going from their house. Nothing. He goes on a panel and publicly asks Chris about the rumor that his parents have Sebastian. Now, like I said, maybe it's just me, but if I thought someone had my kid, I'm not going to ask you about it. I'm going to be in your face about it, and you're going to deal with me. I don't see that coming from Seth, and I haven't seen it yet. But hey, like I said, just me. So, after Seth asked Chris about his parents taking Sebastian and all hell broke loose, it caused the creator and Chloe to say that maybe their conversation shouldn't be held publicly. But they're holding it publicly because both Seth and Chris love the attention. This case has turned into the Seth and Chris show. Or like I like to call it, a total shit show. With both of them out seeking all the attention they can find, in my opinion, while saying it's not about them, it's about Sebastian. And all of this is just my opinion, but if it was truly about finding Sebastian, we wouldn't have seen any of this soap opera playing out from day one, Katie included. Seth told Chris he doesn't want to upset him, but he just wants to squash all the rumors. Tell me, why do they care about any of the rumors at all? It's all they care about. Who's saying what about them? Not finding Sebastian. Again, in my opinion. Chris has spent more time online looking for attention for himself than he's ever spent looking for Sebastian. And Seth has told anyone who doesn't like what he's doing to F off. But it's all to find Sebastian. While Katie hides out and doesn't answer at all for the fact that Sebastian went missing under her watch. And it's not lost on me that this video is only giving Seth and Chris more attention. But I wanted to share it with you, so you can go see for yourself what they're turning poor Sebastian's case into. Which is no doubt why we're seeing so many YouTubers and searchers dropping off from the case, because they're all coming to the realization that it isn't what it seems. And I plan to keep covering the Seth and Chris show because something happened to Sebastian. He didn't just up and walk away with no shoes on in the middle of the night, in my opinion. And I want to watch as it all falls apart for them. And police put together what really happened to Sebastian. But I have to give the creator who held this live credit. Her channel is Web Sleuths, and you should go watch her live on her channel. She held it, and she deserves the views for it. But she kept it together way, way better than I ever could have. Which is why I don't conduct interviews on my channel. Because I don't do BS. At all. And if Chris tried that crap on my channel, all you'd hear is me yelling over him. Answer the question. Answer the question. Just answer the question. Why can't you just answer the question? Answer the question, Chris. And it wouldn't even be an interview worth watching. Because other than that, all you'd hear me yelling is, where's Katie? She's his mother. She should be answering the questions, not you. Where's Katie? And he'd throw his usual fit, drop off the panel, and the interview would be over. So, I don't do interviews with people. Because I can't be nice just to get them to talk. I wish I could. But Web Sleuths held it together. And I give her a ton of credit for it. So if you're interested, it's a very long interview. And a very eye-opening one, in my opinion. As for me, I hate to be a downer, and I will continue to pray that Sebastian is found safe. But at this point, I can't say I'm expecting a miracle anymore. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate it. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you on my next video.